What is up and how's it going? Welcome back to another long-awaited edition of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk Recap. I'm your host, Tyler. And what a great time to be a sports fan right now. You got March Madness, you got opening day coming up, and then you got NFL, all the shenanigans happening. We got hockey, you got basketball. It's just fan-freaking-tastic. Let me introduce my co-host. Let me go with the first one, Shane O'Mac. Shane, how you doing today, buddy?
What's up, go? What's up? What's up? UK into Sweet 16 after a much long-awaited need, and the Cubs are the worst team in baseball. So it's a mixed bag for me right now.
And for those who don't know, there's really only two teams that have a record right now due to the Tokyo series. And unfortunately, the Cubs were the losing end of that one. But
I mean, they did play the team with the unlimited amount of money in their pockets to pay every single star in Major League Baseball. So,
is it
really a loss?
When you're paying guys to $20.93, I mean, it's okay.
It's not against the rules, unfortunately. So,
one day we'll get there. I hope one day we'll get there.
It's so crazy to hear a Yankees fan be upset about what they've done for years.
We paid our bills up front.
Exactly. We paid our bills immediately. We didn't do this deferred payment shit that the Dodgers are like, we're just going to defer everybody's payments and hope it sticks. Mind you, the guy that's the owner of the Dodgers is the owner of my favorite soccer team. So I'm basically like having a civil war within my ownership group.
Okay. I will say
so he's at war with himself.
It's a smart move for Ohtani because he's going to make so much in endorsement deals. And then that's his retirement is like $48 million a year.
Okay, but Ohtani is a unicorn, not the standard. And it's becoming the standard is what's the issue.
But I'd like to remind everybody, July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day. And this has been going on a lot longer, just not on the magnitude.
When
one
does that
contract, not a team.
When does that end?
2031, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so it's coming up.
Hold on, I'll look at it.
It's almost Bryce Harper's deal when he signed a 13-year deal. I think Bryce Harper's deal ends the same year or something.
2035. I was close.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bryce Harper's deal was for 13 years and it ends around that time frame.
The best is people make fun of the Mets for having that contract. And the Dodgers were pretty much like, okay, so we pay him a little bit now, and then we'll just pay the rest of it like 30 years from now. We'll have
the Dodgers, the Mickey Loomises of the MLB.
I was literally about to say that.
Mickey Loomis is watching that team and being like, can we do that? I'm watching them cook. We need to be able to do that.
All right. Well, since we brought up Gumsmack himself, let's get into it, the Saints and NFL free agency. So, I mean, cue the sad music.
From what I hear.
Unfortunately, what was dreaded and what had to happen due to the financial restraints is we actually restructured Derek Carr's contract. And through other restructurings and people taking pay cuts, I know Derek Carr. It's a wild thing to think about. Through other people who aren't performing, willing to take pay cuts. We have $30 million in cap. It's a weird thing to think about. Any of the moves or any comments on the Derek Carr contract, Shane?
The Saints are the worst run organization in the NFL and continue to prove it year in and year out. And I hope they lose every game. That way it blows up in Mickey Loomis's face, and maybe they'll fire him. As I'm assuming Tyler, I don't know about Joey, is still holding on to the Saints fanhood. Mine has been burned at the stake. They continue to make moves and act like they're going to be in the playoff hunt, and it's just not going to happen.
All right. And look, y'all know I lay some soliloquies, paragraphs of texts and group chats about the Saints. It's because I care so much, and it just hurts so bad. But I wanted them to blow it up, but I'm going to start. Nick Underhill, it's a great listen. Shout out to New Orleans football. Put it perfectly. He's like, look, you can either sit around and just like be pissed that they didn't blow it up, or you can just kind of be like, okay, let's see what they're going to do this time. And that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. And look, I actually like the Eric Reed signing. I think he's an upgrade. at the safety spot. He's the thumper that you need next to Tyrann Mathieu. Look, I'll be honest with you. The Chase Young one contract doesn't bother me as much as the Juwan Johnson. Like, you're literally projecting a lot here, and I don't know if he's going to be that kind of tight end, especially being paid like a top 10 tight end. No, I just don't see it. And then, the thing that really perplexes me about the Saints is bringing back Brandon Cooks. Like, the only logical explanation is that you're like, hey, we have small injury-prone wide receivers. Why don't we just bring in another one? So when one gets hurt, we can just swap them right back in seamlessly. Bam, bam, we're good. And look, I guess depth, if we're right. So they actually just signed a left guard today from, I believe he was from North Dakota State. I know his first name is Dylan Rades, I believe is his last name. But I feel more rotational piece, but we'll see where it goes. We hitched our wagon to Derek Carr, and it is what it is. Do I like it? No. We'll see what happens. Joey, what you think, bud?
I mean, we were always going to have Derek Carr this season. I don't know where this idea that, Derek Carr could possibly not be in the league or on this team, barring a trade. No team's going to take that contract with how Derek Carr, hasn't finished a season in black and gold. I think both years he was hurt for part of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he finished. I don't think he played the whole year. First year,
he
didn't.
I don't
because
believe
I think Jake Haener played.
No. I know Haener didn't play. Let's see. I'll look it up.
Yeah,
look
that up. But the fact that he's not that good of a quarterback. But when you look at, the beginning of last season, 2 seasons ago when he first was here, he had no time to throw the ball. He's in the backfield. Players are in his face. This year, they start out hot. It looks good. And then the one thing happens and the team crumbles. So there's something there with Derek Carr to at least, like, if you can protect him, if you can keep him upright, that he can kind of not necessarily keep you in the playoff hunt, but with as bad as this division has become, then you kind of buy yourself a little bit of time where it'll kind of feel a little better. You have something to say.
Yeah, and I'm not like, okay, it's going to come off really bad when I say this, but I'm not trying to say this, but I'm talking about more the thought from the organization. I don't get the thought process of, like, this isn't that good of a division, right? Like, I mean, Tampa, they have a QB on a very good deal, on a team-friendly deal. I think he makes less than Derek Carr, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they have proven offensive weapons. They have an up-and-coming running back, an up-and-coming wide receiver. They just brought back Chris Godwin. They're going to plug up those holes on defense, and they've won the division the last 2 years. Carolina, up-and-coming. They need a wide receiver, maybe another offensive lineman, some holes on defense. Not that far off, at least to be making noise in the division. And Atlanta, they need to fill holes on defense, but offensively, they have a nice little nucleus there if they can just get a center. I don't get the thought process. I mean, are you kind of with me there, right, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, the division, the Saints clearly are the lowest person on that division. I mean, I would take Carolina's roster and the way they played it down the stretch last year over the Saints. If the Falcons second-year quarterback gets together and that offense starts rolling, then they just need an opportunistic defense like the old Saints used to have. And Tampa's continued. I mean, Tampa stayed in with good teams last year, good playoff teams on both sides of the ball. They just didn't finish out. So Saints are clearly on the bottom of this division. And I mean, some of the signings they made, like you said, Justin Reed, makes sense to go with Tyrann Mathieu. I think they overpaid for Juwan Johnson because they thought he was going to go to Denver, and then looks stupid because Evan Ingram went to Denver, which is great for Bo Nix. I think that's an interesting signing, but the NFC South's going to be competitive.
Yeah, but sorry, Joey, I wasn't trying to.
No, you're good.
Like, there,
no,
buddy.
you're good. But it's it's that the mindset that people have is that, like I said, that the division is bad, and you're saying you have every reason to believe, and after you kind of verbalizing it to me, it just kind of hits where, oh yes, this division is getting better. But I feel like the division is getting better, and I feel like they're all one player away from it just tanking. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like kind of like the Saints did, where like, yeah, if somebody gets hurt, Eric McCoy got hurt, tanked the season, kind of thing. Like the momentum just swung.
I'm gonna propose this one to you, Shane. I feel like Tampa could probably withstand that. Like if a Baker Mayfield went down, like it wouldn't be pretty, but I feel like, don't get me wrong. All right, I don't want to, like, they're immensely better with Baker Mayfield. I'm not trying to discourage that at all. What I'm saying is that I feel like with Mike Evans, who is the ageless wonder, right? With Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, like I feel like they've kind of insulated where if they had to go 5 games without him, they'd be okay. But I would agree with you, Joey, that everybody else in the division, if they're one injury away from done. But I could be completely wrong about Tampa. It's just maybe I'm thinking too highly of Tampa.
I'm checking to see who their backup quarterbacks are as of right now.
Kyle Trask
and probably Michael Pratt.
Yeah. So if Baker goes down,
I'm not saying it's great.
But see, this is the difference. If Baker goes down, they have senior leadership. They have a solid defensive players, and they have just offensive weapons. He doesn't have to do what Baker does for them to stay competitive. Our center went down and our team fell apart. That the Saints team fell apart. That's a problem, right? Like that's not the quarterback getting hurt. That's the damn center. And I mean, you drafted a guy in the first round who's supposed to be able to play center and guard. He couldn't fill in. Yeah, I mean, I understand Eric McCoy is a good.
There's nothing against Eric McCoy.
Well, yeah, it's nothing against him, but like it's not your stud running back. It's not your stud quarterback, your stud receiver. If like Brian Thomas Jr. gets hurt, the Jacksonville offense is going to be in trouble.
SOL on that one.
But I love the dude to death. If Justin Jefferson gets hurt, they still have playmakers on that team.
They did it.
Yeah, they did it last year. It just, when you look at roster construction, I mean, I don't like him, but Bryce Young gets hurt. Andy Dalton's still there. He can be serviceable. Yeah. They haven't traded Kirk Cousins from the Falcons. If Penix gets hurt, Kirk Cousins can come back in. So
go ahead. Let's sidetrack a little bit for a second. I'm glad you brought that up. To me, this is wild, right? Like, I assume Kirk Cousins is going to be professional, but dude, as the Falcons, do you really want that in your building next year?
Like, everything I've seen, he was good with staying and good with being a team. Like, he could be BSing, but he seems like he was on board to help the Penix be the starting quarterback. I mean, he's getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to go out like that, though.
I don't think he will. I just don't think it makes sense. I think they're being cautious because they've been burned in the past with quarterbacks, but I think they're going to hold on to him for a year and then or trade him by the trade deadline.
Man, it's wild to me, man.
It's wild, but just like Joey was saying with Derek Carr, we had an opportunity, as the Saints had an opportunity to get rid of him as a post-June cut. They made that choice not to do it. So now his cap, we have $30 million in cap that they have not signed anybody as of today, right? Like they still have cap, right?
They still have cap, yes.
Okay. So the Saints did all this. He's $69 million to the cap next year. Just himself.
But I will say, we do it every year, but we also have to take into account that the cap raises every year. So
it raised $25 million this year.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taylor Swift.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no, but if it raises $25 million next year, he is still $44 million to the cap, and we haven't even counted anyone else that they've kicked down the road.
No,
I hear you. I think it's something as the Saints fans have watched unfold, where they were really competitive and getting into the playoffs. It makes it a little easier. They have not proven to do that over the past couple of years, especially since Breeze has been gone. So, like, when you had Breeze, you were just like, you know what? Let's keep kicking it down the road because anything's possible.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is not instilling that in the Saints fandom. The Who Dat Nation is not feeling that. So I it'd be interesting to see. I don't think I wouldn't be betting on them to win a lot of games or the division for sure.
So that's one thing I want the chat to kind of, or our viewers to drop in the comment section. I want somebody to name another team that hated their start. I mean, I should say a fan base that just there was such a dislike for their starting quarterback, right? I think it's interesting because there is a huge contingent of Saints fans that are just like, this dude is not it. We're over it. He needs to go. All this stuff. And
didn't he
Oh,
go
I
as far as to move? Didn't he move his family out of here or something?
yeah,
Like fully prepared.
Can I
to be
name
like,
a couple quarterbacks and see if you agree?
go ahead. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, let's go ahead.
I would say
Joey
Donovan
likes-
McNabb when he was with the Eagles.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Rightfully so, Mr. Butt Fumble, Matt Sanchez,
Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez, whatever. That's how unrememberable he is. But I would say him.
Yeah.
Matt Leinart.
Yeah. Leinart was just a giant draft bust that kind of came off as a douche.
I would say Kyler Murray's pretty divisive for the Cardinals fans.
Yeah, I would say so too, because he's one of those things where it's just like, dude, he's got so naturally talented. But see, it's such a divisive thing for different reasons between the Saints fans and like Cardinals fans when it comes to their quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, because their quarterback is good. He just likes to play video games too much. Our quarterback just loses his sense of thought in the middle of a play and goes, I need 1 more yard. Let me jump this dude and break my hand.
I've seen people on social media being like, well, he's just trying to win the game here. And I'm like, or not be an idiot.
Wasn't it second down?
Yeah, it was second down and 9.
Run out of bounds.
He was already out of bounds, essentially. Oh God, yeah. Anyway, but let's start going around the
quarterback that you were talking about when you were.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You brought up. I'm trying to think of Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I feel like that's one.
I would.
Do that to himself, though.
This may be controversial, but I would say Eli Manning. Every year that he didn't win a Super Bowl, they hated that dude.
Yes.
They only liked him for the 2 years he won the Super Bowl.
I want to say that's mainly just all New York teams, though, right? Like the Jets and the Giants both did that crap to their quarterbacks because you named 2 of them, and it's funny. The first 2 quarterbacks you named brought their teams. One brought them to a Super Bowl, and the other one brought them to 2 AFC Championship games back to back.
Wasn't one of them his rookie year?
Yeah, his first was his rookie year.
Donovan McNabb, I think took a beating, and then they liked him after. I think Philly, and you could say that about a lot of people who've played for Philly.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other ones. Derek Carr. I mean David Carr did. I think the Texans hated him.
Well, can you really blame him? That dude got beat to hell. He had 70-something sacks his rookie year. Like,
yeah. No, it's crazy to see. The LA fans were quick to cast off Jared Goff for their savior Matt Stafford. Then they're quick to get rid of Matt Stafford. So they're not really happy in LA, even though they don't go to the games.
Yeah, I was about to say it's such a road game every time they go in there.
I feel like I hear the fans from LA like, we don't like our quarterback. But they're like, it's almost like fans of other teams are acting as if they're fans of the Rams and Chargers and just trying to like infiltrate all the message boards and everything for the for the Rams to be like, Matt Stafford sucks. We got to get rid of him. And it's like, where the fuck are you coming from?
It's like, homie, we have Derek Carr. We'll happily switch with you, buddy. Happily.
Yeah.
They said his wife became a problem, is what I like. She's been very outspoken and became a problem. And I just like kind of like Mahomes had the issue with his wife and his brother. Like the teams are trying to nip that in the bud and be like, we don't need unwanted attention from people who aren't even in the organization.
Who aren't Taylor Swift.
That she goes to the game, bro. She's supporting her man. The NFL is choosing to show her. So
what makes me laugh is the thing that makes me laugh about the whole Taylor Swift thing is they were confused as to why she was booed at the Super Bowl. And it's like, I don't know. It could be because half of the stadium was Philadelphia Eagles fans. I'm just putting it out there. These motherfuckers threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yeah, that didn't surprise me.
Are we?
Yeah, I
how
was
are
like,
we
what are we talking about
surprised?
here?
Yeah,
But the NFL is exposing that shit. What I'm talking about is she goes to the game, they show her on the screen. That's great. You got like Jackson Mahomes like sexually assaulting people, and Brittany Mahomes pouring champagne on people, and then
Yeah,
Stafford's wife is like calling out personnel changes and GM. Yeah, like I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, no. I was saying because Taylor Swift makes some money too. Like they're just ahead.
Well, yeah, so they're okay with it as long as they're making money. They're
exactly.
Not, they're not the great green machine over there, the NFL.
Speaking of which, the like making money in the the playoffs are a big money maker for them, right? So I don't know if y'all saw this, that the Lions actually proposed a change to the playoff structure, and I want to get y'all's opinion on this. So the divisions would stay the same and everything, still be 7 seeds. First seed, top seed gets a bye. But what they're proposing is that after that first, if you win your division, you get into the playoffs. That's a guarantee. But after that, it goes by overall record, not by if you win your division, then you get a top 4 seed kind of thing. So I want to get y'all's opinion. Joey, what do you think about that? Would you be for that or not?
I'm going to abstain from it solely because I seem to remember a playoff game back in, what year was it? The year of our Lord 2011, where the Saints played the Saints played the Seahawks. The Seahawks had a worse record, but they got the home game because we just had a badass division that year, and we lost.
So this rule change would change that from ever happening again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm abstaining from it is because I feel like I can't be impartial about it.
So
no.
Since you're abstaining,
in all seriousness, it needs to happen. You can't have. I get the division. You get an automatic spot in the playoff. I kind of see. Oh, hey, you won your division, therefore, you get a home game. I think if we change it up to, maybe the first round, reseed it, and then maybe after that, if you want to reward the team who won their division, at that point, give them the next playoff game at home, then it is what it is. But it's you can't sit there and you're basically rewarding the fact that you had a shitty division. Oh, you finished 8-9, but the rest of your division was just dog shit. So you win your division, therefore you get a home game. Whereas this other team went 13-3. The winner of the division happened to go 14-2. So they have to come to you. It's archaic at that. It's just an archaic system.
So you agree with the rule change?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I was saying, but I couldn't say it. I couldn't say all of that without being fair to people who haven't been through it.
Well, I can, and I will say that rules should 1,000% change, and that you don't reward people for sucking. So it doesn't matter who the team is, what division they're in. If you've got the best record, you get the bye, and then everyone falls in line after that.
Man. Okay, well, I guess I'm on the other side of this one. I really think that you should be rewarded for winning your division. Look, it doesn't matter. You don't get to choose who your opponents are. You beat who's in front of you. You win your division. I feel like you should be rewarded for that. And it doesn't happen that often. Where a team is like what happened last year with the NFC North. It doesn't happen all the time. But look, you still get 3 teams in the playoffs. You have an issue with it, win your division. That's all. That's where the complaint comes in. In this scenario, Detroit's still getting the number 1 seed. They still have so they're fine because they won a division. It actually helps Minnesota, and it would have helped Minnesota and the Packers. But my thing is, though, if they would have won a division games, they wouldn't have to worry about it. So it still all comes down to you have to win. So I really like having a division winner. I think it makes it fun sometimes when you have those underdog scenarios. And look, I'll be the contrarian here. The Saints' run defense should have stopped Marshawn Lynch. Doesn't really matter where you play. If he's going to run for freaking 60-something yards on you, just saying, on one play, champions can win anywhere. So, in my opinion, I like the division winners. So, man,
you give. I mean, Seattle's a tough place to play. You gave them a competitive advantage, even though they had a shitty record. Now, if they don't change it, it's no skin off my back. But
oh yeah, I know
there's a huge competitive advantage for the Seahawks playing in what is basically two amphitheaters facing each other. So it's the sound acoustics are insane, and it just is the way they construct that thing. So that place was booming as it is. So I mean, you put that game in the dome, you think the same result happens?
If they don't stop the run, then yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter.
That's one run. I mean, I'm just saying, but they had.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
competitive home field advantage. Yeah, he ran for 80 yards on the one play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, regardless, it's the hand you're dealt. You got to win, regardless. Right. Like that's all I'm saying. But I think you should be rewarded for winning your division. But then what's the point? I guess to me at that point, what's the point of divisions then? You just take if you're just going to do the top seeds, make it like just take away the divisions, just have a rotating schedule.
I think they should reseed the divisions every year. I think it'd be great chaos. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you doing so basically the top 4 scoring people in the NFC each lead a division, and then they take the next 4 and then the next 4 and the next 4.
Just do it.
And just keep rotating them every year.
Do it World Cup style, where every year they do a draw, and it's like, okay, in this division you have the Panthers. Okay, then this division it's the Falcons, and it's just like a random draw.
Can you imagine it'd be like one year it's like the Chiefs, the Eagles, Lions, and I don't know.
No, you keep conferences you keep those separate.
Oh man,
you leave that alone. Separate, yeah.
Yes,
but so in the NFC, you got the Lions and the Vikings aren't in the same division, and the Packers wouldn't be either, right? You take the top, you take those 4 teams. I mean, it'd be fun. I mean, they're not geographically right anyway, except for one, I think.
What was it? I think is it the North?
It's the North. It's the Packers. The Lions, Detroit.
No, the West. The West is geographically correct for the NFC. The Cardinals, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks.
Yeah, but it's not the most West teams though. Like if you're going to do that, it would have to be like a California
in the NFC.
Division, you know what I mean? No. I think Shane just talking about teams overall.
I get what he's saying by the North. Like they're just compacted in here. I get that.
Yeah, it's like legit geographically, they're the top. They're right there.
There is one where they took all 32 teams and took out the conferences and restructured them, and that was pretty interesting. We were in with the Cowboys, the Texans, and I think
AFC North too.
Yeah, I forgot who it was, but it's interesting to see.
If you do that, so if you go top 4. They each get a division, and then you just go down the list and you move them
2s,
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The Saints would be in a division with Tampa, Minnesota, and Seattle. That would be our division.
We'd still lose the division.
No shit.
I'm glad.
Detroit, Green Bay.
I'm submitting this to the NFL.
Fran,
I think this is gold right here.
Carolina. Yeah. Send that ship that to Mickey Loomis and they'll find a way to make that.
Not out to the shit Shane talks about him on this show. Ain't no
I would say to his face. I mean, what's that old man gonna do?
Let me see.
Restructure my contract?
Yeah. Hey. We wouldn't ask him about retiring if he wasn't 68 years old. And it's like, no, we're asking about retiring because you're a little older and we sucked last year.
Let me ask you both this. This is because you said that just made me think. Why is it that the NFL continues to go super young with coaches to get these innovative minds, but they refuse to do it with the GMs. They continue to get these old dudes. Like, I know they've done some of it, like they've gone to like Lynch and like some of these other players, but like, why are you holding on? Like, these guys are holding back their teams
because it's yes men and it's people that they know. Because so like you're gonna ask other executives that have worked with them, like other GMs and stuff, be like, hey, what's the record on? Like, look at Dave Gettleman, who got another job in New York after he botched Carolina. Like, it's a good old boy network. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're starting to get some more guys in there. They're starting to get a little more innovative and stuff. I mean, Trent Baalke, how the hell did he keep getting jobs after like San Francisco? He ran off Jim Harbaugh back to college football because he couldn't handle his own ego. And then the Jaguars had to realize, oh snap, nobody's going to come play for us. I mean, come coach us. At least they did the pivot, right? Yeah.
I mean, they got the guy that doesn't know how to say Duval, but yeah, that's
Duval.
He apparently got on. I want to say it was Pardon My Take, and
it was Pardon My Take. Yep, as they should. Hell yeah.
I'm just glad somebody called him out on it and did it to his face. Like, do we need to talk about this?
Yeah, like what? How do you mess that up? But so since we're talking about other teams, I want to talk about some other NFL moves. So Seattle just decided to change their entire team. You know, like goodbye Tyler Lockett. He's released. Traded DK Metcalf, and round of applause to DK Metcalf getting absolutely paid. What, $150 million guaranteed to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Kudos.
He was there with oh no, is Russ still in Pittsburgh?
Nope. Russ is a free agent right now.
So I got to. Holy shit! Pittsburgh does not have a quarterback.
It's gonna be Aaron Rodgers.
I love, first of all, the innovative minds out there that just jump on stuff so fast. It was like Jaylen Warren runs for 2 yards, and it was like Pickens, and they had somebody as Pickens and Metcalf fighting down the field.
I saw that.
And then it's like, hey, welcome to the team, DK. We're going to give you 5 years, $150 million. Cool. Who's the quarterback? Hey, welcome to the team. Enjoy the money. It's like, we don't have anybody.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, but look, Pittsburgh finally got their wide receiver, right? They've been trying since last year to get another one to go with George Pickens, but this should be at the very least entertaining to watch. And so how many games does George Pickens get in before he absolutely blows up?
Preseason.
Oh, okay. I was giving him 5.
No, Aaron Rodgers is an egomaniac, and he's going to yell at the kid. And if he's the quarterback, I say preseason.
You think that's going to happen? I think it's happening.
That's if he doesn't get arrested in the offseason.
Yeah,
because he's a hothead.
Not Aaron Rodgers, George Pickens.
No. Aaron Rodgers is in a cave somewhere with Michael Bublé. There were some interesting signings though. Justin Fields to the Jets, I thought was interesting. Should be interesting to see it play out.
But I love it though. It's essentially a 1-year deal. I mean, if you think about it, so
I love it.
Why the hell not? Look, you can still take quarterback at 7 if you really feel like it. But I mean, I feel like you roll with him this year and see what you got.
Najee to the Chargers is interesting as from a fantasy standpoint to see change of scenery does him any good.
As a dynasty fantasy football owner, I don't like it. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah, 1 year maybe. There's a 1 year thing, maybe. 1 year
and I was hoping that they would be a sneaky spot for a running back to go in the first round. So because I really
what happens if they still draft one?
I thought I would hate it even more.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because now it's just more competition. Because you're talking about really one guy. If it's going to be that, it's probably going to be Marion Hampton. And I really don't want to see him be stuck behind Najee Harris for a whole year.
So, do you feel? First of all, I don't know what the Cowboys are doing at running back. I guess they think Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams are going to go back in time and just not be injured for their entire career. But I'm seeing a lot of steam with Genty going to the Raiders.
I think it's happening. I think it's like one of those things where like Fournette came out and everybody's like, oh yeah, he's going to the Jags. And like when Zeke came out, they're like, oh yeah, he's going to the Cowboys. I think it's just one of those things where it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point.
And I know this is your guy, Tyler, so I've been saving this to ask you. What is with these guys? This is what makes me just question every draft expert that puts out a mock draft. They got McMillan falling to the 20s.
Well,
Like a couple people, not just one.
Oh, no. Oh, I know. And I can see it happening too. But this is what happens when you have a long off season and you have people that are just going to find things to nitpick about. That's not his game, though. Like everybody's so discouraged that, like, also, I've never heard such a wide variation of fucking 40 times. Excuse my language. Freaking 40 times from one guy at his pro day. It went from like 4.48 to like 4.6. And I'm like, who is timing this? So even if he ran like my cutoff for him was 4.55, right? So I'm gonna average it and just say he ran a 4.55. I still like his speed. Like I think can you fact check me real quick on Mike Evans' 40 time at the combine?
Yep.
Real quick. I want to say it was 4.58 or 4.56.
I thought it was a 4.56.
Yeah. So like I don't know why people are getting so reactionary to that. He wasn't gonna be a burner down the field. Like
right. I'm with you. I just was curious because I was baffled when I saw it.
Mike Evans ran a 4.53.
Okay. So
in the combine.
But still, like, that's still my comp for him, right? Like, he's a big body wide receiver. Now, he's going to have to rely a little bit more on contested catches. But I think you put him as a big slot, you have no problem.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But
I know we talked about a bunch of signings you liked. Did you dislike any signings? Not Saints related. I would say maybe outside of the Saints.
I don't know about dislike. I'm gonna tell you one that confused me a little bit, and that's Davante Adams to the Rams, right? Don't get me wrong, Cooper Kupp they have seen something on tape. They have identified something that they don't like in his game anymore, or they've seen a drop off, and they got rid of him. Okay, fair enough. But there was points last year, and look, I was a Cooper Kupp fantasy football manager where he was just legitimately phased out of the offense. It was Puka or nothing. I don't see them taking targets away from Puka. So I guess throwing more money at Davante Adams to be a decoy, maybe? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I mean, you still got Robinson there, too. They love him.
Yeah.
So it's not a slot receiver. It's another big body receiver. So it's not like I hate it. I just don't understand throwing that much money at it. And look, McVay can change up his offense completely. I can only go by what he did last year, right? And Puka was the offense last year. What do you think about it?
I didn't understand that. I do like if Dave saw something in Kupp, I guess he's an upgrade over Kupp. I don't know how he fits in there schematically. I will say so I know I dogged the Saints out. I will say the Saints at least did moves to try to improve, where the 49ers just got like basically gutted. And then the only thing they did was re-sign their fullback. So they had originally lost like 9 starters, and then they cut the I think they cut them, and then they re-signed them.
Re-signed them, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a team that I think's in a little bit of a trouble.
Well, I'm gonna wait and see. It's kind of a planned retool, right?
Yeah.
Like they kind of had this year circled as like, hey, this is when we gotta like really just because they had like $300 million worth of contracts.
Yeah.
So they had to do something. And this is what happens when you push all your chips in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, they got the injury bug too. So I mean, but at least they did it with quality players in a quality system that was proven it worked. So that's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
One I will say, because we talked about Cooper Kupp, Seattle. Like I was with you with going with Sam Darnold, which by the way, you look at that contract, it's essentially a 1-year deal too. Brilliant. I don't know what they're doing at receiver. Okay. And hear me out. Cooper Kupp and JSN did most of their damage in the slot. You look at Clint Kubiak, who we're all very familiar with. He ran a lot of heavy tight end, 1 wide receiver, 2 wide receiver sets. That's not how these guys win, is on the outside. So I'm going to be really interested to see how this really works out. I feel like, look, you brought up T-Mac. I feel like T-Mac would be a perfect fit here. as a big body wide receiver on the outside for him. But
Amy wanted me to remind you of this, Tyler, because she said if you bring up Seattle, she said, let you know it's Bobo time.
oh, well, Bobo is there. Bobo definitely is still there.
Joey, I don't know if you know this. She kept using this dude in a daily lineup, and she just would be running around the house. It's Bobo time. I'm like, oh, and like the one or two one week he blew up. I was like, oh no. I said she spent like $3,000 or something on him. It was like so cheap. And I mean, the dude I think scored twice and had like 100 and something yards or
120 yards, 2 touchdowns. You wonder how I know this, Shane? I finished second.
Yeah, sorry, brother.
Yeah. That's I'm like, dude, I can't be mad. It's Jake. Like if you call your shot with Jake Bobo, more power to you.
Oh man.
Oh God. But I do want to talk about one set of wide receivers that I got absolutely paid. Jamar Chase is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history per year.
Roll Rumble Raiders, baby.
I was about to say Pride of Metairie. And then you got Higgins right there with him, 4-year deal. Now, clearly not worth as much as his is, but Joey, what'd you think about the Bengals signing their wide receivers, bringing the band back?
It's going to be great until the defensive side of the ball is giving up 50 points a game.
They're already doing that.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He deserves it. Like, we've broken Tyler.
No, because I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, so status quo?
Yeah.
Well, it's 50 points literally every game, not just like a game here, a game there, and then some random game where it's like the short bus of offense comes up against the Bengals. But I'm waiting for the ball to drop on these teams spending all this money where, like, how much are you willing to risk the rest of your team to keep one guy? And
hey,
you know, the way that the Bengals played last year, he's one of their best players. So yeah, you have to pay him that much.
Bro, he's the best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, I said better than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I said it.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of terribly run organizations, and I'm rooting for the Bengals, but they showed a statistic that if they would have jumped on signing Hendrickson and Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and I forgot I'm missing somebody, but the amount of money they could have saved, they still wouldn't be they could have paid 5 players less than they're paying the 3 guys now, or something. It was something to that nature, but it's insane.
Bro, it's the Cowboy effect. Like they did the stats, the same thing of like if Jerry Jones would have signed Dak and CD a year before, right? Like if he would have signed Micah last offseason, guess what he's not dealing with? Him trying to be like, oh, well, I want more than Myles Garrett now. Or I want more than Jamar Chase. Like,
now I will say the internet is still undefeated because, like Joey said, they've shown a bunch of videos. It was like the Little Giants, and it was like the Bengals trying out defensive players they can afford, and it was like children. So
yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I like the over on all the Bengals games. I think it's a lock. But
so do they just draft all defense?
I think they got to close to it,
right? Like just every pick, they pick an offensive player. You're like, what the fuck?
I'm sure they could go running back. I mean, I know they got Chase Brown, but I know they're going to need. He's not. They haven't invested a lot in him, right? So
no, he's 5th round pick.
So tinier guy. Maybe they try to grab one of those guys, but I would think they got a lean defense.
Oh,
I know that's where you want somebody to go. I'm sure.
Well, I wasn't thinking about it until you just said it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, because somebody tried to trade me Chase Brown, and I'm like, I'm not jumping on that. I like him, but it's just in a dynasty league. It's
just the price you got to pay for him right now too.
Yeah.
I mean, so all right. Since we're bringing up dynasty things, and you know what, I want to get your opinion on this. If you're trying to trade for Derrick Henry now, what you asking? I mean, if you have Derrick Henry and somebody comes to you, what are you asking for? A third? Now, gotta keep him. Let's keep everything in perspective, though. 31-year-old running back, I mean, I know he's been fantastic. Wheels can fall off at any point. Where are you going? What are you asking for?
I would say I just did this with a tight end. I went and traded for Travis Kelce because I had tight end nightmares. And if he does get in shape and he comes back inspired next year, it might work out. It might not work out, right? The wheels started coming off. I gave up a player and a second rounder. I would say Derrick Henry's better than Travis Kelce from a fantasy standpoint. I would probably say a late round 1 or an early 2.
Okay, that's actually kind of where my head's at, to be honest with
now, that's me and you talking. I'm thinking that anyone else outside of this 3 of us talking would probably say a 1+ maybe, just because of the name. I'm not saying. So let me ask you a dynasty question. I'm not going to name any names.
You don't have to say it, but go ahead.
Why would
Does it involve somebody who just sent me a trade?
I'm sure he did. Why would you? One. Yeah, it's him. Yeah. Shout out, Jono.
I just got the alert that he sent me a trade offer, and I'm like,
why would you trade for a player? And I feel like you gave up. I'd have to look at the trade, but you traded for a particular wide receiver, and then try to trade him to half the league right after you get him, and then try to sell you on why you should grab him.
Dude, you gotta love the sales pitch afterwards. So, anybody listening to this, drop in the chat or in the comments. If you have somebody like this in your league. Oh, I love the sales pitch. I'm like, dude, I know who this guy is. I listen to the exact same stuff you do. I've heard all the things. No, I don't want him.
I'm gonna pull up the trade real quick and see, because it just baffles me. I'm like, no, I don't want this player.
I have one that's just so inconsequential. I don't understand what it is. Like it really doesn't make sense for either one of us. It's literally just a trade for a trade. I feel like in my book.
Okay.
It's Tua and Dallas Goedert for who was it? I got to pull it up too real quick.
I'm pulling up the trade that I was just offered, by the way.
Oh, yeah, welcome to Trade Hour, everybody. We're just gonna have fun with this. I guess I gotta look at it on my phone. I don't know. But yeah, it's just so funny. Like, yo, man.
Oh fuck.
And like I like some of the stuff is logical, but I'm like, dude, it's like I said, why would I do this trade?
Okay. So in my trades, he has asked for Rome Odunze like he probably sent me like 4 trades.
Yeah.
And I've just looked at them. I'm just like, okay, because I get them when I'm busy. Like I'm either recording this or I'm at work and all that stuff. So he wants Rome Odunze for the 6th pick in the first round.
You know, I don't hate it.
I don't either, but it's like.
But it's also, hey, I used the 3rd pick on Rome Odunze, so I kind of want to see what I got.
Yeah, that's the problem. I want to see what I have. I had him for 1 year.
So the trade I'm referring to, the person gave up Isaiah Pacheco and Devontae Smith, who he traded. He traded, I believe, 2 1s for last year.
Yeah, 7 and 8.
For the 6th.
Don't play coy. Don't play coy. You're the one that traded him.
I love getting Tyler riled up. For the 6th overall pick in 2025 and Michael Pittman.
Don't tell me he's trying to trade away Michael Pittman right now.
Absolutely. That's who he's trying to trade. Now,
he's not, dude.
If Michael Pittman played like he played in Madden the other day, I'd give him my whole team because the guy was they made
First
it like the Colts were amazing.
You got to remember the greatest quarterback of all time that, like, you know, the tap out artist himself is playing on a team. And as much as that freaking hurts me to say that, because I invested heavily in him in freaking Dynasty. Hey, those first 4 games, I looked like a freaking genius. And
I look like a genius for getting rid of him and at least taking Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, I bounced him. I was done with him.
Yeah. But I got Drake May in the pipeline, so I think I'm all right. I think I'm okay. But yeah, is there anything I mean, other noteworthy signings were we had the Texans trading away Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders, and then them also getting Deebo Samuel. So that's gonna be interesting for them.
I think the Commanders did a lot of, I think, underrated moves like locking up Ertz and
Will
I forgot
Harris.
Bobby Wagner and them that have like veteran leadership while bringing in a left tackle, like bringing in weapons to try to they're throwing a bunch at it. I think it's interesting. I can tell you one thing. No woman's getting next to Jaden Daniels without his mom when his mom's around him. I mean,
That
I don't know if you saw that. Jeez,
She's making sure he's taken care of. Okay.
I said, "Holy good!" I was watching the game. I said, "Oh, look, that's kind of cute." The next thing I know, his mom's. Her mom's. I was like, "Oh, geez, blocked." Crazy.
Oh God. So unfortunately, guys, I don't think we're gonna get the
Crazy to
Aaron
me.
Rodgers full Favre
But-
transformation now.
It
It looks like
I would like to. Ooh.
I mean, he did go to the if he goes to the Steelers, he is going to the North, just not the
If he
NFC
goes-
North.
Yeah, but if he would have went Vikings, he would have had to
Oh,
have,
it
like,
would've been-
you know,
yeah.
he would see what happened is he would have had one good year, he would have had a bad year the next year, retired, and then had a Social Security. Oh no, I'm sorry, food stamps fraud,
And if
and then
if
full
the
Brett
GM
Favre.
if the GM of the Vikings would have had any kind of like sense of humor, if they would have signed him, he would have said the only number available is 4. So he kind of stuck with that.
Oof.
So Shane, what did you want to do, buddy? I kind of cut you off there.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just gonna throw out a couple little tidbits for baseball.
Okay.
Which is besides but some of these you're not gonna like. Besides obviously the Dodgers, I like the Texas Rangers this year. I like the Phillies if they stay healthy. Sneaky team to make the playoffs, and this is kind of a long shot, but for me, the whatever you want to call them, A's, Oakland A's, Sacramento A's, they have a sneaky hitting lineup. They've got some sneaky pitching. Should be interesting to see. I do not think either of the New York teams make the playoffs.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Yankees this year.
I don't know if you look at the Yankees, and I'm not a Yankees hater with y'all. I am with my brother, but like they got Wells leading off, which I like, but like him and Judge, and then it's like you put an old Goldschmidt in, Bellinger, who really didn't do much. You let Gleyber Torres walk. You put Volpe in. You got like I don't see it. So like to me, the Red Sox lineup looks disgusting, and I mean they just. I know. I mean, the only saving grace is the Cardinals.
My wife to hear that, please.
Yeah, the Cardinals are falling apart. Which is, I mean, the Cubs aren't going to do much, but the Cardinals look terrible as an organization. It's great.
I feel like that's more baseball too, though. Is like, all right, as long, my team may suck, but as long as they're better than my rivals. I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah.
And I saw this today. I must have missed this. Is Tampa is playing in New York this year, right?
No, they're playing in the Yankees the
minor league
spring training stadium across from
they were redecorating it today. They were redecorating it today, Joey and Tyler.
Oh,
they're pulling the Yankee stuff down.
Look, I'll allow it. Okay, like they're helping their neighbors out. Like,
dude, it's
the thing that makes me laugh though is they were able to sell. Tampa was able to sell out Raymond James Stadium for the Savannah Bananas, but they have yet to sell out the minor league stadium that is George Steinbrenner Field for the Rays.
When do they ever, like, I was just about to say, how do they still keep the team?
I don't know.
I think the MLB is trying to make some moves to force them to sell. I think the renovation or the new building's off. I don't think they're going to be in Tampa much longer. They've already greenlit like a Nashville team. I think they want another Canada team. But there's other places they can go. They're going to be in Vegas. So
they're talking about Orlando with the Rays at one point. Like Orlando's trying to make a push for them.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But see, here's my thing with having just because I've experienced being in the South and watching a baseball game. To me, it's just so freaking hot.
Well, you got to enclose the stadium.
You got to.
So here's the problem. The Tampa area is primarily people who come from the north, who are already Yankees fans, Red Sox fans, and what have you from the north. Mm-hmm. So you're coming down. If you're going to a Tampa Bay Rays game, you're going to see your team play the Tampa Bay Rays. You're not going to see the Tampa Bay Rays go play the Houston Astros. If you're a Yankees fan, you're waiting for the Yankees to show up and be like, all right, here we go. Let's make this a New York home game. And
then lose.
Yeah. So it just depends on who play. So anyway.
Hey, last team in MLB right now.
Yes.
We're used to being last, baby. We're
bottom
used to
dwellers.
being hurt. We're 0-2, and we're still not the worst team in Chicago.
So I have a question for you, Shane, because your team is going through this, and you probably have better knowledge of this than me. How does the Tokyo series work with spring training? Because don't you have to have a roster set by a certain date?
Yeah, so you kind of see if you watch any of the game.
I didn't, because it was on at like 6 a.m, and I was like
5:10. Me and Corey were up texting each other.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, Corey's like, dude, my wife thinks we're gross. I was like, I don't really care. I was like, I don't care. I was drinking my coffee watching, but
I can't say much. I watched the U.S. women's team play in the World Cup. It was like 3 a.m. at Fire Beer.
My neighbor was watching F1 at like 2 a.m. the other day. He said
I was too. Yeah. So was I.
But
right there with him on that.
Check out our new F1 show.
They make some exceptions. So basically, but you saw like they treated that game like a spring training game. Shota got pulled. He pitched for 4 great innings in a non-Tokyo game. If that was opening day, he would have went into the 6th, 7th inning if he was pitching that way, and they potentially could have won the game. He left the game. The dude gives up 4 runs in 2 innings. They were up 1-0 when he left the game. So, but anyway, they're allowed to tweak it when they get back, so you can bring a couple more players, because there's a lot of things that can go when you travel that far. You can
basically it's hey, these are your last couple spring training games. They're just going to count when you get back in.
They still played some games when they came back. There's games going on today, and then basically they play spring training up until Wednesday. They finalize the rosters. They send the guys to AAA, AA, whatever. They finalize the roster. So like you'll see, like the guy already told Paul Skeens he's starting opening day.
Yeah.
So big shocker. But
wait,
you know,
did I read? Go ahead.
There's guys like Jordan Lawler, who is like a top prospect for the Diamondbacks. He got tweaked a little bit. They're going to start him in AAA, but they don't really have a spot for him to hit. So, but someone always gets hurt on the team. You'll see on the Yankees, you got I don't know how you say his name. It looks like Jason Dominguez is a really good player to look out for. He's coming up. So you'll see the rosters, like it's updated daily because they continue to keep playing spring training. So Blake was over here doing my business taxes, and I was reading out the projected lineups to see what's changed, right? Like Gunnar Henderson starting on IL, so the Orioles had to make a move.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so like there's different players that get tweaks or they might not start them. So they're always a little more precautionary than some things, but they all have to still finalize their roster by Wednesday, because opening day is Thursday at 2.
And I guess they're trying to avoid the NPB. Is that NPB in Japan? Whatever their league is. I guess they're trying to avoid that. So they say, hey, let's play the game in March. Have a series there in the Tokyo Dome, and then.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why they're doing it is almost similar to when you had Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, and those guys basketball took off
in China,
big time in Japan, and a lot of people think it's Yao Ming. It was actually Tracy McGrady. They love the Rockets, which is why the Rockets went after Yao Ming. They have a huge. If you go to the Houston Rockets, there's usually Japanese writing on the court, because they have so much viewership. So now with the Dodgers basically they have Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Otani, and then they did the Cubs because they have Shoto Maga and then Saya Suzuki. So they had 5 of the top Japanese players. They're showcasing them because normally they have to watch the games at like 5 a.m. or whatever time, so it's just a little different. So they're trying to. It's a similar thing with the Europe games in Florida. They're which I love because you're watching the game at 8 a.m. Here,
Oh, dude, I love it. But yeah, no, it's crazy that's right around the corner. God, what a great time for just sports
this
in general.
This year has flown.
But Joey,
which is weird because when you think when you think about how fast this year has gone, this is your obscure sports report. I guess we're going to kind of transition into that. I'm a Formula One fan. I felt like the off season, it was only like 98 days. It felt like it dragged and dragged and dragged, but we're already in March. We're about to be in April. Like you said, you got baseball's getting ready to start. Formula One's fully going. Soccer's getting ready to wrap up in Europe. It's starting in America. Then you have basketball's wrapping up. Hockey's about to start the playoffs. I'm to the point now where I'm like, I don't know if I really like this time of year because I don't have enough time to watch all these sports.
Well, you got 164 days until NFL starts, so you got a little time to take a breather. I will say, Joey, I went and looked and watched for you the USA-Canada game, the start of that game, and the brawl, and the dudes that remind me like they're from the Mighty Ducks.
Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
The Bash Brothers who are legit brothers.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. The best part is they were talking. I was listening to, I want to say it was Julian Edelman's podcast. He had Paul Bissonnette on, and he was talking about how I think that fight was basically staged to start because the guy for the Canadians, which I think was Sam Bennett, plays on the Florida Panthers with one of the brothers who got in a fight. Like I think he got in the first fight, Matthew Tkachuk. And so his brother Brady was like, look, man, like if they go, how about you and I go? And they're like, all right, let's do it. And then that was just the way it started. And it just took off.
I was telling Joey that I went and watched a Canada USA game, or as I called it, UFC International.
Oh, dude, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic.
I love it. By the way, we did get robbed of a goalie fight yesterday. I want to find it. So I can't remember what 2 goalies it was, but they were skating the middle of the ice, like, come on, let's go. And you see the guy basically responding, like dropping his gloves, like, yeah, let's do it. And you see the refs come in and swarm, and the crowd booed them out of the building. Like, just like what could have been with that. And the best part is the goalies stay on the ice if they get in a fight. Typically, they'll put somebody up because if the goalie gets a penalty, you can't put the goalie in the penalty box, so someone else has to serve it. So if I'm the goalie and I trip you and I get a tripping call, oh, guess what? We want that guy. You're going to go serve the penalty. Go sit in the box for 2 minutes.
That's hilarious. Do you think each team has a designated guy?
They have to.
Or it's like, hey, man, you didn't do your rookie duties. You get your penalty box duties to this game.
I feel like that would be like, look, that's part of your rookie thing. You make sure you get food for everybody on the plane. You got to bring coffee to the arena. And if the goalie gets a penalty, you got to go sit in the sin bin for 2 minutes.
I'd be hiding shit in there like gummy bears or pretzels. They cut to me. I'm like,
go work.
The best is, I want to say it's Vancouver. They have the guys in the green suits that are next to the opposing team's penalty box, and they're doing all kind of dances and shit. Those are funny. They had, then they had one. It was I can't remember who they played, but it was Toronto was in. It was Ty Domi. He's in a penalty box, and this dude's just sitting there jawing at him. And so he turns around and he sprays him with the water bottle, and the guy lost his shit, was like reaching over the glass. The glass fell. He ended up in the penalty box, and Ty Domi's like, well, I guess we're here. And he just starts swinging at the guy. Because like you're coming to fight me, like we're not having this.
Well, it's like, dude, that's like people that decide to jump into wrestling rings. Like at that point, bro, it's fair game.
You have made the decision to do this.
Yeah, you have brought this on yourself.
Yes.
But with all fun and games aside, Joey, is there anything serious you want to talk about hockey wise as we wrap up to this week's episode?
The playoffs are coming quick. As of right now, only one team has clinched a spot in the playoffs, and that's the Washington Capitals in the East. Another reason why you may want to be watching Washington Capitals games is because Alexander Ovechkin is only 8 goals away from tying the great one in goals for his career.
Gordon Bombay? Is it you were talking about Gordon Bombay?
I was more leaning on Wayne Gretzky than Gordon Bombay.
Charlie Conway.
And Gordon Bombay's defense, I don't think he actually made it to the NHL, so there's that.
No, Joey, he just missed the post wide left.
No, he got hurt, remember? He got hurt because he was like hobbling back, and then he went against, what was that guy's name?
Hold on. I got this. Go ahead with your
the Iceland coach. He went against the Iceland coach in the one-on-one to keep the
Hans
ice.
Gruber. Hans Gruber,
yeah.
No.
But yeah, no, the playoffs are in full swing. This is the time to watch hockey. Stars update. Right now, they're beating the Wild as of recording, which is always a good thing. They're 8 points behind the Winnipeg Jets for the lead in the division. Tyler, go for it.
Gordon Bombay played for the Minnesota Minnehaha Waves.
But
his professional
what league it was in?
So it was fake.
Yeah.
That
might have been a World Junior League in Canada or something.
Joey, I will tell you that Amy, in her championship bet, took the Dallas Stars.
Yay!
Win. So Amy did I got to remember, she took Dallas. She took the Rangers. I want to say she took the Commanders.
Woo!
And she might have
Texas Rangers. I'm like,
yeah, the Texas
New York Rangers.
No, and she might have took. I think in basketball, she took the Thunder.
Ooh, that's a good bet.
That is a solid bet.
Because I'll let you know right now, there's not many teams I don't think there's any team I'd pick to beat them in a 7-game series right now. Maybe Boston, but damn, dude, they look so good.
I do have news outside of hockey that I think is pretty important.
Well, do tell.
For the landscape of American sports. It is
geez.
something that I have been pushing for these leagues to do for years, but money is too tied up in it and whatever, so they don't want to do it. It's true. So the USL, which is a soccer league that consists of basically if you look at a pyramid of soccer, you have, MLS is number 1, then you have like USL Championship and something else is level 2, then you have level 3 is like USL 1 and so on and so forth. The USL is creating a league to basically be equal with MLS, and they are bringing along, voted on by, I don't know what a supermajority is, but I'm assuming it's like 3/4 of the vote, promotion and relegation into the U.S. soccer pyramid. So for those who don't know what promotion relegation is, if your team finishes in the bottom 3, you go down a peg. You basically go down to essentially AAA. If you finish in the top 3, you move up. But once you're in the top, if you're in the top 4, you're into another regional championship that is another episode for another day. But the fact that promotion and relegation is coming to soccer in the U.S. is huge. It is something that, I always talk about, we reward mediocrity in the NFL. If you're the worst team in the league, you get the number 1 pick. If you're the worst team in these soccer leagues now, you're done. Like you're going down to another league.
Joey, let's be honest here, okay? Ted Lasso is the reason why they're changing this in American soccer.
Incorrect. Yes. They've been calling for it for years. There's been talk
Ted
about
Lasso came out, and now everyone knows about relegation, and now they're instituting it.
No, but wait, hold on.
Ted Lasso, baby.
But when he's talking about the mediocrity gets rewarded, it's like, no, they're just trying to help these poor franchises.
Yeah, but it's hey, look, you get the first pick, you get the best player on your team now because you suck.
Well,
Then
it's
you
not the
have
best player. To,
But then you have, teams
Cleveland
that will
Browns.
sit there and tank. We'll actively suck. If you actively suck in this, guess what? You're getting less money next year.
no, I get
All
that.
your players
I
are
get
leaving.
that.
They're going somewhere else.
It's definitely to de-incentivize it, and I get it.
Similar to Ted Lasso.
Season 4 coming out. They're
Season
writing
5.
it now.
I thought. Is it 4 or 5? No,
Four.
wait, no. Sorry, the boys is
should just-
5.
They should just leave it be.
What?
It ended perfectly, Ted Lasso. There's no reason for it to bring it back.
Yeah, but he's got to coach the
Money.
women's team.
Money.
They've teased
Right.
the women's team in
Money.
the end of the thing.
It's all
think
money.
I saw a clip of someone who should be playing for the women's team. She literally knee kicked it over this girl's head, then knee kicked it again and as she's juking her. Knee kicks it one more time over her head. The girl is on a seesaw and then shoots it into the left corner of the goal. It was the craziest soccer thing I've ever seen.
Well, that hurt my hamstring just thinking about it.
You've missed some soccer.
Yeah,
You've missed
thankfully.
things.
Thankfully.
But anyway, with that being said, gentlemen, is there anything else we got this week?
No, dude, y'all got me up past my bedtime tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I think we got a good little show here. Joey, you got anything else?
Listen out for the Formula One show coming out.
And
we're recording it tomorrow because we're waiting for the dust to settle on a lot of shit that could happen over the next couple days.
Ooh, well, please listen for that.
There may be a
Also,
driver changing teams.
Uh-oh.
And it's only
Be
the
on the
third
lookout.
race of the season.
Be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for another episode of This Shouldn't Be Recorded. That will be going live very shortly. And then me and Shane got some, and Joey got some fantasy football stuff we got to discuss very, very soon. But until then, rock on. We'll see y'all next time for the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. I am your host, Tyler, for Shane and Joey. Later.